Aloha, I'm Malia Zimmerman, and this is News Behind the News. We are fortunate in Hawaii to have so many interesting people who have history here and who know so many things about the islands. And today I have somebody who's winning a Lifetime Achievement Award, John Henry Felix. He's been a council member, and he's also been an amazing businessman as well. And today we'd like to welcome him to the show to talk a little talk story about politics in Hawaii, about business in Hawaii, and about his history here. John Henry, thank you for coming.
Delighted to be here, Malia.
Yeah. You have an amazing history here in the islands. You were born here, raised here, and you have so many stories. And I was hoping today you could tell us about yourself.
Well, it's difficult to talk about myself, but
I know.
I'll give it a try.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, tell us about you were born and raised in Hawaii.
I was born and raised here, June the 14th, 1930.
Wow, okay.
At St. Francis Hospital. I was the second baby.
Really?
Born at St. Francis.
Great. And then you were raised here at Punch Bowl.
On the slopes of Punch Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese Beverly Hills.
And then you went to St. Louis.
I went to Lincoln Grammar School for my first 6 years. And from there I went to Catholic school to St. Louis. And from there to Chaminade in St. Louis, Missouri. And a stint in a seminary. And from there I went to graduate school at the University of San Francisco and was drafted into the United States Army.
Well, thank you for your service. And what did you do in the Army? What was it that you specifically
I had
did?
the awesome task of being a light weapons infantryman.
And so what did that mean exactly?
We fought battles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the bottom line, right?
Yeah. I was a Korean veteran.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
And so you went from that, and then eventually you got into politics and into the unions and so on. So tell us about that.
Upon being released from the Army, because I had a reserve obligation, I had 8 years reserve obligation, I joined Art Rutledge of the Teamsters and Hotel Workers.
Art Rutledge, he was a well-known man, union leader, and of course his family has carried on the tradition.
As a matter of fact, his wife is my mother's first cousin. So Tony and Artie Boy are my cousins.
Okay. So that's how you got involved?
No, we didn't find out until much later, after he had hired me. And he didn't fire me after learning that, so
that's a good sign.
It worked out all right.
And that's typical Hawaii. There's so many people related to each other here, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And with Art, I had the pleasure of negotiating contracts with Henry J. Kaiser, the Kaiser Hawaiian Village, and with many notables like Harry Weinberg when he had HRT, and those were great times. Lots of contracts, lots of picket lines, and near arrests, and we formed the first AFL-CIO Committee on Political Education. Art insisted I'd be the first president. It was rather strange because to this date I'm the only Republican to serve in that capacity.
I bet, and probably will be the only one.
And at that time, the ILWU was a part of the CIO, so they were a part of that initiative.
Wow. So what did you accomplish in terms of you set up these PACs and basically help get candidates elected and so on?
Mm-hmm. And we did. Mm-hmm. We were very successful. And
you also worked for Governor Bill Quinn.
Yes, but prior to that, I was hired by Roy C. Kelly, the iconic Roy C. Kelly, when he was expanding his hotel chain. And that was an exciting period for a young man to acquire properties and to build them with our own construction crews. We literally used our maintenance crews to build hotels and took money out of the cash register every day. It was a great experience.
And that became Outrigger Enterprises, right?
That's correct. It was known as the Hotel Operating Company of Hawaii at the time. And I had the pleasure of serving as his executive vice president. But he was an extraordinary man. He was a genius. He was a brilliant architect. And he did so much for the visitor industry. I'm amazed by his accomplishments.
And he still has an amazing presence today in,
yes.
in the terms of all the outrigger hotels.
And his family has carried on that proud tradition. And it was then that William F. Quinn recruited me to work on the transition from territorial to statehood status. We had to take 110 departments under territorial status and winnow that down to no more than 18. And we only had 2 years to do it in because Quinn only had a short term of 2 years when he was elected governor.
And he was a Republican,
He was a Republican,
and you served as his chief of staff.
yes.
So that must have been a big contrast to go from working with the unions to working with the governor.
But I did make the transition into the private sector working for Roy Kelly.
That's true,
So,
yes. But it was good because you had a whole background that probably you brought a lot of experience
It
from the
was,
unions to the business to politics.
It was equivalent to a graduate degree, yes.
And what was it like to work for him?
William F. Quinn was one of the most gracious gentlemen I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. And he could really sing Danny Boy well.
I heard that. I've heard that. Yep.
Yeah, he was lots of fun. The only time he'd get irritated when I would defeat him at ping pong.
Oh, so you're a champion,
We had a ping pong
huh?
table at Washington Place. As a matter of fact, I had a room at Washington Place because we were so involved with the transition. So I lived there part-time.
You literally lived at your job.
Yes. And with all the kids in the house, you know, we had quite a family. It was not very restful.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
But you're the secret ace, huh? On the ping pong circuit.
Yes, I'll never forget that.
What do you think his biggest accomplishment was? Was it going from the territorial days to state?
Well, the transition was very important.
Yeah.
And we did accomplish it in the 2-year period. It was sometimes painful. There were individuals who left positions of leadership who felt that they were owed the position. But he put together a wonderful cabinet. I was a part of the selection process of filling over 500 positions, all the way from the Supreme Court down to the Barber Commission. And all of the police commissions came under the auspices of the state at that time, and liquor commission. So that was quite a challenge. And we had to clear them to go before the Senate for confirmation. Fortunately, Doc Gill, who was the president of the Senate, was a Republican and very supportive of William F. Quinn. So it worked out pretty well.
And what a contrast we have now, where we've gone completely the opposite way to Democrat.
Well, we had people like Hebden Porteous and Yasutaka Fukushima, and some really legendary figures who were just marvelous men. Their hearts were in the right place.
And you went from, after working for Bill Quinn, where did you end up?
Well, I had to find a job, so I decided to start my own business. And I landed upon the Laurent restaurant on the top of the Alamoana building.
I love that restaurant. I remember that. The round restaurant at the top.
And it was just a fortunate situation. And from there, I developed a restaurant chain totaling 12 in places as far off as Dallas, Texas.
Wow. And was it all under the same name, Laurent?
No, they all had different names. La Scala, La Salon Rouge, Romney, the J.C. Penney coffee shop. Well, J.C. Penney was still in operation. And the
Well, I miss that restaurant that was at the top, because that was such a great place to be able to see everything in the
It was a
island.
perfect spot to show visitors to the islands. A Circle Island tour.
I know. So I'm not sure what that is now. At one time it was a wedding shop, and I don't know what
I
it
think
is now.
it's offices.
It would be the
It's a
perfect
shame.
place to have an office.
Yes.
I would like to have my worldwide headquarters there, but it hasn't worked out yet.
I'll
Maybe
see if
someday.
I can work something out.
Okay. I want my own helipad out there so I don't have to deal with the traffic. Just land and go right into the office. What do you think? It sounds like a
Good
good
idea.
idea, right?
Put a heliport in the top.
Exactly, yeah. So how long did you have that restaurant? It's not open anymore.
Over about 30 years.
Wow.
And I sold it, and it went out of business within 5 years.
Wow.
But it was a thriving
It's a
business.
very difficult thing to have a business in Hawaii, much less a restaurant.
Yes. Well, I'm a glutton for punishment because I'm starting a new restaurant.
That's right.
It's opening today.
Tell us about that.
It's the old Bobby McGee's in what was the W Hotel. Unfortunately, the owner of the hotel ran into some financial problems, and it's been closed for 2 years. And the opportunity came around. Aqua Hotels is my partner, and Tom Giuliano and others are very expert in the restaurant field, and they asked me if I would become a partner of theirs. I jumped at the opportunity. It's a beautiful location, a wonderful restaurant. We've renovated it. You would not recognize it.
Because it was called the Diamond Head Grill before.
It was.
And now it's in, the Diamond Head Grill was closed for a while.
For 2 years.
For 2 whole years, wow.
Could have been more. But it was a wonderful location, a beautiful restaurant, a huge kitchen. As a matter of fact, it has 2 kitchens.
Wow.
It would be very difficult to replace today. So I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity.
So what's your best meal going to be there? What do you think your specialty is going to be?
It's going to be cauliflower.
Cauliflower? Did Mrs. Obama get to you?
It's a surprise.
Oh, it's a surprise. All right.
We prepare it in a very special way.
Oh, okay.
And we
Okay.
have clams and also buko and all of the
Ooh, I like that.
Mediterranean dishes.
Oh, I should have eaten before this show. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I should have brought some food over.
I know. We should have a taste test here. So it's called Park Hotel, or Park Restaurant.
Park Restaurant and the Lotus Hotel.
In the Lotus Hotel, right.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where that is because those of us who go to Kaimana Beach can see that right there. It's right next to, very close by Kaimana Beach. And there's all that parking around there. Plus, you probably have valet parking.
Oh, yes, we do.
And so what is it going to be? Is it going to be breakfast, lunch, dinner? What's it going to be?
Just dinner. And we serve continental breakfast to the hotel guests, of course. But we're going to feel our way, and eventually we'll open up the former Bobby McGee's section for late-night entertainment, nice jazz, and a little romantic dancing. And,
That's great.
it'll be a nice after-hours place to meet and greet old friends and make new ones.
Well, I remember Bobby McGee's because it was open when I was in college, and I also went to Chaminade. And we used to go there, even as a kid when I was here, we used to go there.
Chaminade of St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, different Chaminade.
The same order.
Same order, okay.
Yeah.
Well, but, you know, when I did go to Chaminade here, we used to go down to Bobby McGee's quite a bit. And also, when I was a kid, that was the place we celebrated our birthdays. Besides Farrell's with the big Sundays, we went to Bobby McGee's. That was our big treat to see all the people in costume. For the people that weren't around here or were too young to remember, there was all these different themes where everyone was a fairy tale character.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. It was quite a restaurant, and so you're in a good spot with lots of good history.
And we're featuring my private art collection.
Oh.
They're all original works of art by a rather famous artist, Gaylord Soley, who lives in Orange County, California. He was a student of Picasso, and
Wow.
he has replicated his style. He's different, but it's similar.
And so what is the kind of, when you walk into the restaurant, everybody will have to go and see it, but what is it going to look like in there? What's the atmosphere?
It's a very welcoming atmosphere. We have a very interesting booth arrangement, which breaks up the traditional tables and chairs. And we have a lounge area. Our bar seats some 40 individuals. We encourage people to eat at the bar. If they come in alone and hesitate to take up a full table, we'll recommend that. But the bar is a very nice place to dine, and we'll have another tasting bar on the other side, smaller, which You can order anything you want. Just challenge the chef to come
wow.
up with something that suits your fancy.
Oh, how fun. That's a neat concept.
And then we have 2 private dining rooms, one with the glass wall, which is our wine room, and the other one is enclosed for those who want greater privacy. And then there's the former Bobby McGee section, which will open eventually, but we'll be holding special parties in there. And
How many people can be seated in your restaurant?
well over 140.
Oh, good. So good size.
With the bar and everything else. And the former Bobby McGee section can seat 75 and up to 125 in a stand-up situation.
So we skipped a little bit ahead in your career because we missed a whole big section in the middle. Besides, when you went from your business and then you eventually worked, I don't know if you did anything in between, but the city council.
I did a few things. I took over a cemetery by the name of Hawaiian Memorial Park, and then acquired Borthwick from my old friend Mendel Borthwick, and expanded that operation to all the neighbor islands. So we were present on all the islands. We were the only cemetery mortuary operation in that situation.
Yeah.
I did that within the course of about 3 years.
And then do you still run the
And then I
Borthwick?
sold it. So I sold it to SCI, the largest cemetery mortuary operation in the world. It's a billion-dollar company. And now we've identified, well, we have a piece of property in Hawaii Kai, 69 acres. It's already, has all the entitlements, and it's all paid for. And we have it all planned out, and we're pretty much ready to go.
That's for the cemetery, for a cemetery there.
Bill McCorston, Arnie Baptiste, David Hulihay, Leonard Leon are all partners in this operation. So we have a good team.
And so you'll be opening that soon, or?
We hope to.
So that you definitely have had your talent in business, and it's been gone from you look at that, from restaurants to mortuary to a cemetery.
I dabbled in 2 other businesses.
Well, what were they?
I had a law enforcement company. It was a worldwide company.
And what was
We
it?
distributed law enforcement equipment.
Okay.
Over 4,000 items that are used by police departments and some armies. That was quite a company. I acquired the technical part, which was the international arm of the company, and it afforded me an opportunity to travel the world. We had representatives in 64 countries, so it was quite challenging.
And what was the other business you said too?
X-ray engineering. This was another international company that did non-destructive testing. We tested pipelines, airplane fuselages, ships' hulls, primarily submarines, and it was...
Just to see if they were safe and secure.
Yes, without destroying it.
Right, exactly. Wow, amazing.
There are hairline cracks and that develop in some airplanes, and you don't want to be in an airplane with too many cracks.
That's for sure. We do not want that.
30,000 feet.
We also don't want a pilot that doesn't see the seawall when he's landing, right?
That's very important. Yeah.
Right. So you really have had, I mean, you're winning this Smart Business Hawaii Lifetime Achievement Award, and it sounds like you've earned it.
Well, I've lived a long time, and I guess that's part of the magic of it all. I don't like to think of myself as being old, but rather as a witness to history. And I've seen a lot of history. I was here at Pearl Harbor, the attack, December the 7th, on the top of Punch Bowl. I could see the
It's a good view of what happened,
right before my eyes.
Yeah.
And I would wave to the Japanese pilots, and they would wave back.
Wow. That's scary. You could see them so closely.
Yes. Well, they were pleasant from up there with this young Portuguese Hawaiian.
Yeah. And what do you think it is? I mean, for people who, you've obviously been able to make a business, not necessarily because you're passionate about Borthwick, you know, or the cemetery, or the restaurants, of course, are fun, but or the X-ray company. But what do you think that you had that made you so successful in business?
Well, the opportunities. When I teamed up with Reg Baker, I believe he's on your board.
He's been on my show, yes, about HMAA, which you've headed.
Reg and I, he joined me when I was with the Borthwick Hawaiian Memorial Park operations. You team up with the right people. You know, you can't do it alone. And I think that can be one of my strengths. I seek out people who can get the job done, who are highly motivated and who are knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you been heading up HMAA, which is, of course, a medical insurance company?
7 years.
7 years. And you've had to go head-to-head with a very big company that's actually two big companies that have had really a foothold in this market, HMSA and Kaiser.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind that I said their name on the show.
No, I don't.
Okay. But HMAA, tell me about that company and why did you get involved in that?
Well, it was an opportunity, once again. My good friend, Bull McCorston, told me about it, and I said, well, you know, I would like to try that. And I had to do a lot of learning because I knew nothing about the business, and a lot of midnight oil. And it's a very challenging business. It's a meaningful business because we provide necessary insurance to people. And we have a boutique health insurance company that fills a need, and we found a niche, and we have very loyal members.
Yes, I know. I've been a member for a long time.
And we provide them with value adds.
Yes.
Through all of the collaborations with other businesses who can support each other.
That's great. Well, I have had Kaiser and HMSA, and I ended up with HMAA, and I've always appreciated the company, and it's a good company. So I know you've done a good job along with Reg Baker running it.
We're passionate about people's health, and we're passionate about service. Without service, you don't have a company.
How long did you serve in the city council for? How many years was that?
16 years.
16 years, wow. And you represented the Hawaii Kai to Diamond Head area?
And for a period of time, the windward side, a portion of the windward side, parts of Kailua, Lanikai, and Waimanalo, all of Waimanalo.
That's where I grew up, Kailua, yes. So what was it that why did you decide that you want to get out of politics, or why did you get into politics in the first place?
Well, I didn't want to make a career of it, but I thought I could make a difference. And there were certain things I wanted to get done, like banning smoking in public places. I introduced the first bill in the nation, and it took 3 tries to get it through. Frank Fossey kept vetoing it. So I finally mustered enough votes to enjoy an override of
I can just imagine the days of you and Frank Fossey together when he was mayor. I bet that was really interesting times.
Well, we had a love-hate relationship.
Didn't everybody have that relationship with him?
Before I went on the council, he appointed me to the Police Commission, the Board of Water Supply, the Civil Service Commission, the Parks Board, the Honolulu Redevelopment Agency. And once I got on the council and I questioned some of his acts, things got a little dicey. But I loved the man. He was for the little guy.
He
really was.
He really was. That's right. And no matter what you thought about him, he got the job done. And don't get in his way or he'll run you over with his...
He wouldn't speak to me for months.
I've interviewed him as well and seen him, him do his push-ups even in the day, back in the, in the end of his career when he was out of politics running for governor, I believe it was at the time, again.
We'd have push-up contests.
Would you really?
I still do 100 push-ups every day.
So I guess you beat him, huh? Okay. You and Neil Abercrombie can compete. Remember, Neil Abercrombie was saying that he would bench whatever his age
Bench
was,
press,
plus 200, right? 200 pounds.
Neil and I have been friends for 50 years. As a matter of fact, he worked for me
Okay.
for a period of time.
It's interesting.
And I think the world of it. I sometimes question his politics, but
As you should, being that he's a Democrat and you're a Republican, right?
yes,
Yep.
we're called the odd couple.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Well, he's had an interesting career as well, coming from, he was in the city council and, of course, Congress, and now governor, so.
Well, the only reason, one of the primary reasons I ran for the council, he came to my home and begged me to run. He said, you have to run.
Wow.
This was a special election. And that's a true story. You can ask Neil to this day, and he will say, yeah, I'm responsible.
Wow.
So-
And then 16 years went by, and then you finally decided to leave and
Well,
continue
I was
business?
term limited out.
Oh, term limited, okay. All right.
And I supported that measure.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think you're right. It's good to go into your service and then go back to whatever you're
I
doing.
was up against all of my colleagues, my 8 other colleagues on the council, because they didn't want to have that take place. But there was the Charter Commission that was then chaired by William McCorriston. And to this day, he thanks me for being the only council member who delivered testimony in support of term limits.
Wow, great. Well, we're almost out of time, but I want to tell people that one more time about, first of all, you're going to be honored at the September 20th dinner for Smart Business Hawaii, which is at the Waialae Country Club. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award, which is never given this award before. It's a very important award, an important designation for you, so congratulations.
I'm deeply humbled and
Yeah.
very honored.
And congratulations on your restaurant that
Oh,
opened
thank
up
you.
today, Park. And that's, of course, down by, in the old W Hotel, which is now Aqua, owned by the Aqua, or run by the Aqua
The
Hotel.
Lotus Hotel.
By the Lotus Hotel, right. And I hope, I know I will be coming down to check it out and see, I'll try to give the chef a challenge to see what I can have him make for me. I'll try to, you said we can do that, right? We can have the chef,
Yes,
we can put him on the spot.
Yes, I'll get
And
him
I-
to keep his butcher knife in the kitchen.
And I'll ask him, how many ways can you make cauliflower, right?
Well, you'll like the way he prepares it.
All right.
I don't want to.
You don't want to give it away,
I don't
no
want to give it
secrets.
away, but it is so special.
Good, okay.
You've never had cauliflower like this before.
Okay, well, on that note, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure.
Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
This has been News Behind the News. Aloha.